And you know what? They were right. They were right. I left 12 years ago. They're still there. Still there with different administrations, running the programs, and the real power that exists. So how does the B team operate? I'm going to give you a baseball analogy, and I hope you can, those of you who aren't big baseball fans can follow this. It's pretty simple. Barry Bonds, when he was playing baseball, was the highest paid baseball player in the history of baseball. You can tell I'm not using those things out there. So he was the highest paid baseball player in the history of baseball. He had $20 million a year to hit the ball. And yet, if you looked at his batting average, he only hit the ball 3 out of 10 times, 300 batting average, which meant, if you flipped it around, he failed 7 out of 10 times. But what he did 3 out of 10 times was so productive, winning games, hitting home runs, that he got paid more than anybody else. Same team, let's say the second baseman. His job, when the ball is hit to him, pick it up, don't drop it, get it to first base before the opponent gets there, and make the out. And if they do that 9 out of 10 times, they only fail once, they're considered to be outstanding. But they don't get $20 million a year. Why not? Because Barry Bonds, with his 3 out of 10 times, produces something, a victory for the team. The fielder, who's picking up the ball, is only preserving the victory, not producing it. So what's this all got to do with the bureaucracy? The bureaucracy is made up of fielders, not hitters. Piece of paper comes to their desk, they pick it up, they don't drop it, they check the boxes to make sure that it's nice and clean, and move it to the next desk in a timely fashion, and they are rewarded with bonuses and promotions. When you ask, as I did, well, what's this producing? There's terror, because they don't think about what it produces. They think about fielding it cleanly and moving it to the next desk, and everything's smooth. So my job, when I took over, was to try to make them into hitters. Take a swing, produce something. I failed. Couldn't do it until I figured out what I'm describing to you sometime into my term. And the issue is risk. When you try to swing at the baseball, as Barry Bonds does, there's a risk. You might fail. You do that every day in your respective professions and businesses. But the bureaucrat does not. And if they stay out of trouble, field it cleanly, move the paper smoothly, they're in for life. So we have to figure an incentive system that rewards producers, someone who takes a risk. In my case, the way I did it, having been a hitter most of my career, I was able to just tell them, you bring it to me, and I will take the swing and the risk that goes along with it and relieve you of it. And they were delighted. And we had a very productive relationship because of that partnership. Let me give you an example of this. I walked into a meeting about halfway through my first year at HUD, and the program director, and these are decent people. I am not really saying they're bad. I'm just saying it's the system that creates this. And they were talking among themselves. They said, well, we're going to have to wait 7 years for so-and-so in headquarters in Washington to retire so we can do this. 7 years. I said, you? They realized I was in the room. I sort of got a little nervous. I said, why are you going to wait 7 years? Well, the person at headquarters does our ratings, which serve as our promotion. He might retaliate if we do something he doesn't like, and therefore we're going to wait. He's going to retire in 7 years. 7 years. So I said, well, let me take it, and I will go to the deputy secretary and move it. Well, he might retaliate against us. And that means we get transferred from San Francisco, a preferred location, to Des Moines. So I did it, but I wonder how many other cases there are where they simply wait for retirement. So you need to understand what the mentality is, how to take the risk out, and figure out who's going to be the hitter in this system so that you can deal with those regulators and those bureaucrats. The last lesson I'm going to tell you about today, before we get to the real important ceremonies, the speaker talked about Mother Teresa came to my house. There's a wonderful lesson in this. One of the problems that I had as mayor was trying to be normal as a family, because you have bodyguards around you all the time. And for example, when you go outside to leave the house, they're waiting for you, and the police officer is driving the car. I would ride in the passenger side, and my wife, Sherry, would be in the back with the kids. It upsets the sociology of the family to have a police officer in the car, because usually dad's driving, mom's in the passenger side, the kids in the back. If they misbehave, you growl, and everything's okay, you know. But you can't do that with a police officer. So this one day we told a little bit of a lie and said, we're not going out today. And then as soon as the police officer left, we snuck over to my mother's house for dinner that Sunday night. On the way back, it was a little late. It was about 8:30. The kids were little. They were in school. And Sherry, remember, we didn't have any milk for breakfast the next morning. And so I said, well, you take the kids upstairs, get them ready for bed. I'll go get the milk. So I took the car and went down. And on the way back, the phone rang in the car. And it's Sherry in a very animated tone of voice saying, Art, Mother Teresa's walking up the stairs to the house. Mother Teresa's walking up the stairs to the house. Yeah, what do I do? Well, let her in. I'll be right there with the milk. And I walked in, and sure enough, there was Mother Teresa, a diminutive woman, about 4'10", sitting on our couch with two nuns next to her. And she had found a building in the city, down in the Fillmore. Those of you know San Francisco, Turk and Fillmore. And it was an abandoned building that someone had told her she wanted it for a homeless facility. She had several in the city, but someone had told her it was owned by the city. So she said, well, where's the mayor live? I'll go ask him for it. And that's what she did. Now, this is 9 o'clock at night. And so I'm saying, well, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know that building, and tomorrow morning I'll get right on it. Now, she had a very soft voice, and she said, the work of God cannot wait until tomorrow morning. What do you have in mind, Mother? She said, we must go now. Well, now, Mother, it's 9 o'clock at night, kind of dark. It was a wintry, February night. It might be a little dangerous down there. She said, do not fear. God will protect us. So just to make sure God protected us, I called for a couple of my bodyguards, and off we went.